Round 8 teams, let's get into it. So we have the Broncos and the Sharks to kick us off. And we got Tamari Martin, who's starting again. We spoke about him a little bit. He obviously had a really, really good game last week, that 43. Comes up against Sharks this time. Just be aware of him as a potential option this week. Obviously a lower break even, sitting a bit over 300k. But he is someone that's going to come up against the Sharks and probably won't score as well. Obviously he can. There's always that opportunity. But he's someone that I'd just be wary of this week at that little bit over 300k price. If you're looking at other guys, Stags is always a potential option. Reynolds been really dominant lately, and I can't see him scoring under that sort of 45 floor. He hasn't missed a 50 yet, so he's been really, really good. In terms of the rest of the team, they play the same as they did last week with Walters at 9, but I'd expect maybe Corey Pakes to get into that starting jersey. If not, just they'll play it the same as last week with 30 minutes for Walters and Corey getting the rest of that time. Walters is pretty much a sell now, if that's the case. Corey played better, and I imagine he'll get those minutes this week. So Walters a sell, but don't have to in terms of unless you're getting him to a player that's going to make you money or it's going to score you good points, then it's also okay to hold. Same with Kobe. You can get rid of him. You can trade up. You can trade down. You can also hold. I think that's fine. Maybe try not to play him if you have that opportunity, but he's going to be getting around that 40 minutes and doing what he's been doing recently. Talakai comes in about 675, so if you're getting him in now, you're getting him in as a gun for the year. So just be aware of that. He is well above gun status in the center position. He has that dual position with the edge as well. Chance he comes on the bench for Origin, but that would be, he'd have to play incredibly well over the next 6 weeks to do that. And if he plays incredibly well, that means lots of points. So definitely a good option for anyone who is looking to pick him up. I imagine I'm going to get a lot of questions about him this week, and a lot of people are just going to put him in, and that's completely fair. Nico Hines still completely dominant. Mulatalo people speaking about, but I'd go Talakai over Ronaldo in that position. Obviously, he has the fullback duel as well. In terms of the forwards now, so Finucane comes back into 13, McInnes into the interchange role there. So I think McInnes we can hold off on this week. There's a few other guys I'd potentially pick over Cam at this point. So that's our first game there. We'll move on to the Titans and the Panthers, and AJ Brimson gets put into the fullback jersey. Will Smith comes into 6, so potentially it's going to be a 1 week thing. We have Jaden Campbell in the 24 reserve jersey, so he's potentially the next couple of weeks, whether it be late this week or possibly next week, he could come in and play. So don't, if you're still holding on to Smith, that's great. You get some extra points and probably some price rises, but if not, I wouldn't be looking to pick him up. Sexton is a sell. Brimson is not a buy at this point. If we're looking for feeder, he moves back into the second row, so you can hold on to him if you like. Both for more. If you want to move him on, you can. If not, you can hold as well. And that is all on that side of the ball. If you haven't moved on Aaron Clark yet, I think that's a good time, this week or next. If you're looking at the back line for the Panthers, everything looks the exact same. Taylor May, Stephen Crichton, and also Isaac Tungo are all holds this week. They've done really well. Gained us a lot of got us a lot of points, but gained us a lot of price as well. So well done to them. Cleary's still a great buy. Probably the last week to get him, I'd suggest. Coming into round 8, you'll have 5 rounds, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you'll have, 5 rounds, including 8. If you wait till next week, it'll only be 4 rounds, and he'll probably miss a couple of games. So this is probably the last one to get him. If not, go for the other guys like the Papali'is, the DCEs, whoever else. If you have all those guys, then just keep building up guns if you don't want to, or if you can't get Cleary this week, that would be my suggestion. In terms of the forwards, there's no one really else to pick up at this point. Sonny Luke gets his keeps his spot on the interchange bench, and he's potentially going to play for Abby Coruscant, or he will split those minutes with Mitch Kenny over the Origin period, potentially if Appy's in camp or however it works. He's going to play at some point, so they're blooding him early, which is cool. Spencer Lanu is a hold if you have him currently. Okay, Bunnies and the Eagles there. So Blake Taff obviously really disappointed last week. Keep him in your teams. But if you don't have to, potentially don't play him would be ideal. Isaiah Tass comes in for what's his name? I forgot his name now. Tane Milne. So he gets suspended and Tass gets a chance there, but I wouldn't be thinking he's an option at this point. Lockie Ilias is still making a little bit of cash, so he's a hold. Campbell Graham reckons it's a little smoky for Origin. He had a really good game last week as well, and has been great all year. Jai Arrow, you could hold or trade, up to you. Cam Murray and Cook, obviously very, very similar. Both over 900k now, so both being absolutely incredible this year. Dabi Mwale, we know we're going to get with him, so getting under 20, he's not probably going to make you too much cash. So if you're getting him in now, he's going to play a little bit over Origin, obviously, and be a lower scorer for you. It's not his year to be a big minute forward, or at least a 30-40 minute kind of guy. unless there's going to be injuries, and even then, they've got a bunch of guys that can play big minutes anyway. On the Eagles side of the ball, we got Talatakula, who probably is a buy this week, if I'm honest, guys. So we see Morgan Harper move to the 18 jersey, and if that's the case, then we see Kula get an opportunity in that centres, and if he can score well, if he can play well, play some good footy, he's going to keep his spot in this team, and that's going to be great for owners. If he's playing well, he's going to be scoring solidly. If we can get him around that 30 mark, then he's going to be a great buy. Heading into this next couple of weeks, and obviously through the Origin period as well, he should get some time in the team with Trbojevic out, and DC and these types of players out as well. We look at Carl Lawton, and we see Olakawatu out. We also see Andrew Davey out as well. Paseka's out this week, so you'll see Lawton play a game or two of 80 minutes in this forward pack, and obviously he's going to score pretty well. He usually does in an 80-minute role, so just be aware of that with Carl. But you've got Bullymore in there as well. But Lawton with a very short stay in that given that opportunity in the back row, I think he's probably not worth it at this point to bring into your side. We move on to the Warriors Raiders. In this one here, we've got Reece Walsh. I think he's going to be an option eventually. We see Rocco Berry come back on the wing. Arthurs keeps his spot. Pompey's in the centres, and also Viliami Vailea as well on the wing. So he's not going to be a red dot anymore for those teams that have him. Being our people squad, we own him. He's going to get some game time. So hopefully he can have a good game against the Raiders and potentially make some money. That would be ideal for anyone who still owns him. If he's not going to be, you're not going to be able to use him as a loop, then hopefully you can get some money out of him. Adam Fanua-Blake, a bit of a low game, but again, it's either a trade now, or if you're holding all the way through the Origin period, that's the way to go as well. Ewan Aiken, a solid score on the weekend. I spoke about in the wrap-up video that he's scoring well enough, averaging 49 to be a keeper in the centre, so you'd probably just hold him all year, to be fair. That would be the smartest. He's not going to play Origin and take any of that, do any of that for you. Joshy Curran's obviously going to be a trade out. Looks like MCL, so 4 to 6 weeks for him. I think you've got to trade, unfortunately. If it's 6 weeks, he misses a round 13 as well. Can't remember if they actually play, but we'll either way, 4 to 6 weeks is too much at this point in the season for someone that's that pricey. Raiders. Oh, sorry, I was just speaking about. A few people asked me about Jazz Tavanga. He has spurts each and every year where he scores really well and can make you some money and score well. If you have a lot of trades in the bank, you could play that 4 weeks. Is my guess, or however long it's going to be. Until Tohu was back as well. So remember that Harris is going to be back. Maybe Tohu goes into an edge. He might play 13, and if he comes in early, then Jazz's prospects as a moneymaker and a good scorer in your team, they go out the window. So for Jazz there, just be aware there could be like a small 3 to 4 week proposition in your team, and if you want to play that, then you can. If not, I'm going to tell you to stay away. On the Raiders side, they're pretty much named the same team. Ryan Sutton at 13. We have Adam Elliott on the bench. So, apart from Ellie Whitehead coming back into the side and Rushton leaving, this is a very similar side. Savage on the wing again, and Jordan Rapana as well at fullback. Schneider keeps his spot, so I'd continue to play him, especially against the Warriors there. That Schneider could have a nice game if this is a little bit closer for them, or if they come out and win the game. How good is that interchange, by the way? How is this team not killing it? Seriously, forward pack's amazing. Got Jack Whiten. You got some gun outside backs. Really strange. But anyway, it's not for me to work out. I'm just talking about NRL fantasy. Bulldogs and Roosters, 5:30 game on the Saturday night. We got Dufty doing okay. Averillo comes back in, unfortunately, for Riz. So those who are interested in the cash cow, then you're not going to get that, unfortunately. Burton, completely up to you what you want to do with him. Roosters should be better. They should win this game. Burton probably won't score amazingly. But you watch, you'll trade him out and he'll go pretty well. So up to you what you want to do there. Josh Jackson, I think, is probably going to be close to the buy of the week. I think he's finally got back to his 80 minutes. They worked out that's the role for him. Tackle hard and do his thing. And this is what he was doing in the back end of last year. So he's finally got back to that. And if you think he can continue that, obviously with a little bit of running amongst his tackles, potentially getting some offloads and tackle busts eventually, then Joshy could be your man. Obviously, they have a few of those guys that run really super hard and can offload it in Thompson, Vaughan, and Tavita Pangai. But Joshy's a great buy. Tavita's going to be a good one too, but up to you if you want to play for that one. Jackson's going to be a little bit more consistent than Tavita, and price isn't too dissimilar. Maxi King's probably got a few more weeks left in him. Up to you if you want to hold him through the buy period, but you can also trade him out eventually. He's made a plenty of cash for us, and if you're still playing him in your side, sweet. If you have him on the bench, you could probably look to trade him on in the next few 2 to 4 weeks there. On the Roosters side, Teddy is back, so I wouldn't be looking to trade him in this week, but if you've got him, please hold on. he's done a good job. We lose Daniel Tupou this week for Kevin Naguama, who isn't really fantasy relevant at this point. Swelly. So Joseph there, he's had a decent game on the weekend. I'd like to see him have a few in a row before we look to potentially pick him up. He's very he's still not basement price. He's a little bit more expensive than that, and you can make that decision once we've seen a few more games. Angus Crichton, again, I'm personally waiting. I'll wait to see if he continues to actually score poorly or have a go. They're not giving him the ball. I don't know if it's something wrong, but 35, 40 meters, whatever it was in the weekend is not enough. That's it on the Roosters side. Eels and Cowboys there. Last game on Saturday night. This is killing me. What is Dylan Brown doing in the centres? Seriously, it makes me contemplate moving him on. But then it's like, well, he can still score well in the centres, but I'm waiting for him to get a 25-30 over the next few weeks and just kill us. It's a very painful one. So we got Penasini and Brown in the centres. So Pens obviously is a centre, and he's scoring well. But Brownie there, what are they doing? I don't know. It's silly. I don't know if they're just trying to give Arthur some time or they're just fitting everyone in, or they don't have anyone to cover in the outside backs. It's a real pain at the moment. They've got Opacek in the 20, number 20. He could potentially come back into the side, but I wouldn't, I reckon they would have named him if they were going to bring him in last minute. But it's a real strange one and annoying. Pupley is pretty close to a must-have, especially over the next few weeks. He's getting expensive, so 870 odd now. Get him in your side as soon as you can, and he will continue to do well against if he's on the right side, you come up against, it's either going to be Lukey or Tommy Gilbert. Sean Lane might have a little field day of tackle breaks if you're coming up against Jeremiah Nanai. He's potentially a trade or a hold this week again. Lukey, again, it depends how many minutes he's going to get. If he's getting 50 minutes, he needs to score a try or get some attacking stats. If he gets to 80 minutes, it's not going to be a big worry. So just play that by ear on that one. It's just hard when he gets named there and then gets moved back to the bench with Peyton and his decision making. It's hard to work out for sure. Taumalolo it's definitely a good buy. He's getting great minutes and he's running hard and getting his attacking stats. And the nice offload a couple of game at the moment has been really, really helping him. So Taumalolo, great option over the next section of games heading in towards the Origin period. Knights versus Storm. So we got Pong there. I wouldn't be touching him. He does smell at the moment, unfortunately. His fantasy scores, apart from that 100. That average has been terrible. Randall, hold, I think. I don't think he's going to get 48 minutes again, but anyone in this night side, to be fair, the Kurt Manns, except for Brody Jones, Kurt Mann, Randall, you could trade either of them. They come up against Storm, so it's going to be a tough one. I think Brody Jones, if he plays, he's got a bit of an elbow issue. If he plays, he's going to hold his own against Felice Kafusi, I think. Defensively, he'll be fine. Felice gets a bunch of runs, so that'll be good for Brody and his tackling stats. But for Curdy, I feel like he's going to miss a bunch. Randall could get a lot of tackles, but the ball could not be in play that much with how many tries the Storm were going to score. So if you were to move on Randall or Kurt, I wouldn't stray you away from that. Brody's obviously someone that's going to make a fair bit more cash, so we've got to hold on to him. On the Storm side, there's really not too much to talk about. You've got all your top guns who are doing great. And Josh King, you can continue to hold for a little bit longer. So that's all we need to say with those guys. Obviously, Jerome Hughes is going to be someone who's not playing Origin, so I think he's going to be a pickup over the next bunch of weeks. And people are trying to trade him out, so silly. Dragons v Tigers. All right, let's finish this off here. In terms of the Dragons, very, very similar squad. Tarek comes into the starting side now for Jaden Sewer, who's going to be out for a few weeks, so that doesn't really change too much for them there. Georgie Burgess starting again. But no real relevance of here in this one. Hunt should have a decent game against the Tigers, you'd hope. Depending how close this one's going to be, can Tigers continue that form, and can Dragons continue what they showed on Anzac Day? That's probably it on their side. And then for the Tigers, we see Kelma Tuolangi come back into the side, which is nice. And we'll see if he keeps that role. But surely if he's named this week, you'd imagine he's going to be okay. And for those who own him, like myself, let's hope that he continues to keep that spot. Stafford Toa, he comes into the fullback role for Dane Laurie, who's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks as well. Just not sure if he's going to be relevant. He played a lot of time there last week. He played some other games there as well. I just think at the price point that he's at, it's probably a little bit too high. Hastings, obviously fairly cheap, and if they can continue to do okay, Hastings is gonna score really, really well around that 50-odd mark. So if you want to stomach that and bring him in at that cheaper price, then go for it. I think that would be a decent idea for sure. In terms of anyone else here, the rest of the guys like Joe Offengawi has made their money, and that's probably all I want to speak about there for the team list this week. And if you're new here, guys, I'd love if you could subscribe and hit that like button. Get this out to more people that would like to see these videos. It's great to see the competition this year has been really strong. It's much more than a couple of thousand these days that are actually good fantasy players, and I'm really loving that. So thank you so much for being here. As always, we'll catch you in the next bunch of videos. Got a few coming out tonight, and then a bunch tomorrow and the next day as well. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.